Hey, 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 how's everyone doing this rising? Welcome to Soul Sister Therapy Childhood Trauma Podcast. I am your host, Plum Queen, and we also have our host, Queen Misha. Okay, I'm trying to get y'all to introduce yourselves. Oh, okay, she's having technical difficulties. Well, all right. Well, as we said earlier, we are going to have our sister Misha on here today. She's going to share her story once she gets the video together. But we appreciate y'all giving us your time and your gen energy and healing with us on this Saturday. Okay, here she is again.
Peace, team. Peace, peace.
There you go, Queen Misha. All right. So, like I was telling them, today you are going to be brave and you are going to share your story, and we're going to, get into the touchy subject of sexual trauma. So, I'm gonna let
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you go and do your thing. And like I said, I am so proud of you. And yeah, good show.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Yeah, this is definitely a first. Me being able to tell my story in front of just an open or public audience and do it in a teaching aspect rather than an emotional aspect. And so I'm really excited, hopefully, to be able to um, give some information that leads to you guys being able to, you know, help heal you through the sexual traumas that you experienced as children. So basically, sex was just a really big part of my life as a child, in a very like high um, number of ways, I guess. I was molested for 6 years, starting at the age of 6 and going to the age of 12. Um, by my little brother's dad, who was also physically abusing my mother. And so that kind of added on to why I never said anything out of the fear of, her trying to defend me or and either going to jail or being killed. And so that kind of affected me when it came to me being able to communicate how I felt and what I needed from people, just because of so many years of not being able to communicate. One of my strongest needs, which was, hey, I need help, I'm uncomfortable, and being placed in a situation that's not okay for me. Um, so that was one of the biggest things. Lessons, obstacles, I guess, that I found with being sexually abused for so long was the um, obstacle of voicing my truth. And, you know, um, I really don't have like any emotion towards it anymore. I kind of see it as something that is supposed to happen. It was supposed to happen. And I know there's a lot of different beliefs, but for me, I believe that the soul kind of signs up for the obstacles that we go through in life, um, because we are strong enough to overcome them. And we do recognize as souls that these lessons will play a major part in the growth of ours and, towards our evolution and ascension. And so, when it comes to like my little brother's dad, like if he was drowning, I would save him, you know, just because I feel like that's the point you have to get with with the people who cause you pain in life is that level of forgiveness. Um, so yeah, but so it was like a consistent thing for 6 years, but even throughout the 6 years, and I never said this, but I had like family members trying to be sexual with me on every level, from like God family to my mom's friends' children to like I was overly sexualized as a child, and I didn't understand why, because I wasn't very provocative as a child. I was very quiet. Um, I was very just, I guess, innocent, and I know that's hard to really say because children, they're pure and innocent, but they still can be little, shadow selves when they want to be. But a lot of my overall energy was really just light and love. So I didn't really understand why everyone sexualized me so much. But then I learned that it's because I possess a healing energy within my aura. And so being around me makes people feel good. And then people are taught that sexual activity, it makes them feel good. And so this was my understanding for why everyone from friends to family members, to strangers, wanted to sexualize me. There was a point where I even had um, a known rapist that was following me around for 2 weeks. And I remember this man stopping me, asking me for directions. He's in this big black truck. And it's like he wanted me. I could tell this man wanted me. But something about my angels and my energy and the protection around me would not allow him to make a move on it. But this went on for about 2 weeks and had no idea until the police came to my mother's house to let her know that it had been reported that he had been following me around. And so, just understanding energy and understanding that everything happens for a reason has been really the biggest thing to help me get through that healing process because that was a lot of years of my childhood that I blocked out. And I just really cemented. I could maybe remember on my hands a handful of days in my childhood. Like, you're never going to be able to get me to tell you, like, oh, multiple events that happened in a single year in my childhood, outside of the traumatic ones. Um, and when I do remember the good ones, it's very much a gift because I'm reminded that it wasn't all darkness. It was a lot of shadow, but it's been revealed to me I'm a shadow master. And so I went through this so that I could learn to transmute energy and pain, um, and being able to turn that into more love and light and to help people. Um, and so that's really my biggest thing for people is these things seem traumatic, they seem horrible. And it's like, why did this happen to me? But the reason that it happened to you is because you could handle the transmuting of that pain into something that the world needed, rather than letting it victimize you, rather than letting it take you out, have you on drugs, have you commit suicide. Because I was suicidal at one point, like at 19. I tried to overdose on a bunch of really strong sleeping pills that the doctor had gave me to help me rest because I wasn't sleeping. Um, and I really realized real fast once I realized it was actually taking effect on my body that wasn't the best way. That wasn't the correct way to do it. I feel like I would be coming back, even though I wasn't nowhere near as I am on my journey. Like I had this feeling that it was going to be a waste if I was to try to take myself out because of the pain. So I had no choice but to learn to work through it and work with it. In order to release what needed to be released, and then be able to use the rest of it as a teaching tool and a guide for everyone who needed it. Um, and so, really, that's a lot. It's crazy. I don't really know how to explain my childhood. I was the oldest. I am the oldest of five children. And so, I've always had that sense of needing to kind of be perfect to be a role model for them. Having to, get the family legacy going, having to be the one to break the cycles. And that's been like a really heavy weight that I've carried for a very long time. And like over the last 24 hours, I honestly have gotten to a point where I feel like he's so much best friend. I've gotten to the point where I feel like, that's really not my burden to bear. It is for me to create a legacy of my own in hopes that, my family's in the alignment with my path to be able to prosper from my hard work. But as far as like the amount of stress and the weight, like even for me to feel like it was my job to keep that in and not tell an adult as a child that was not my burden, like that wasn't my fault that that situation was happening or that my home environment was the way that it was, and so that's another thing as I'm talking about this right now that I'm learning, was one of my major lessons over the 24 hours. I just realized I've really been killing myself trying to like leave a legacy. And for what? Like a lot of my family's path and their energy isn't even in alignment with what I'm trying to bring. It's not like I have my whole family interested in gardening and self-sustainability and owning land and a compound and starting a community. Like nobody in my family outside of one of my twin flame brother, like he's the only one that really has this conversation with me. So like releasing myself of that responsibility of carrying my intermediate family on my back is like, it's kind of necessary. I feel like it's mandatory that that happens because a lot of us, especially when we're the black sheep, and we do understand there's a reason for that, a purpose for that, we become really tolerant to behaviors and attitudes and actions that we really don't have any business accepting. From not even your family, your mother, your father, no one. And so that's really been
Preach, sis.
the big yeah, that's been the biggest thing that I've been really dealing with, this last, 48 hours is just being able to release that as well, that need to just carry my entire family on my back when in reality, my responsibility is my child, my great-grandchildren, and the legacy that I leave for them. Like, we're all on our own separate paths. Um I did a lot of foster care growing up, 4 years, about 4 years in high school, and then a bunch off and on in elementary school, middle school. And really, that was just the thing of teaching me to be personable, right? Because I had new friends to learn and make almost every other school year. Like I moved a lot growing up, and then also being able to accept other races. Like I'm not so hard on white people whenever this stuff goes down because they assisted in raising me, and I've seen the best of them along with the worst. And so like I just see them as humans. Like I just humans, there's good and bad in all of it. But getting these different experiences kind of shaped me into the nomadic light worker that I am today, to where I don't have attachments to apartments. I don't have attachments to, being in one place because I understand um the necessity of being fluid in my life, and that I kind of like go with the wind because spirit brings blessings and people for me to heal and people to heal me and help me along the way, especially because I don't have that really tight knit family bond, you know? Um, and so, between the foster care and the sexual abuse and the just kind of like really growing up really fast. Like I was born, and then the next year my little brother was born, and the next year my middle brother was born. So I've always been kind of in that mom role because I've always had to help my mom. She was a single mom for a long time, so helping babysit and stuff, and just recognizing that's because I'm a mother. Like so that nurture is always going to be activated in me, whether it's activated at 3, 4 years old or activated, as an older woman having a child. And so each of these things, like I don't really care to go in too much detail of my story because what matters is the lessons from it, like oh, it's like traumatic and horrible and oh my gosh, I'm doing so well for myself for all of these things that I went through. But like in reality, like there's still worse. There's so much worse out there. Like I hear some people's stories and I'm just like flabbergasted, like, and so it's
That's
like
me
one of
right now.
those things.
That's me right now because
Yeah,
I got my shit, but
yeah,
yeah, my childhood was not like that. I was I was allowed to be a child,
yeah,
even though it got altered a bit. I was still allowed to be a child in another way. So
yeah.
that's why I'm proud of you. I'm
Yeah,
proud of
I
you. And
appreciate that, sister. And when you finding the beauty in things, it's like, no, I didn't get my childhood as a child, but the reality is that the universe has kind of created it where like I physically only have my one daughter and I had her very young. So, she'll be 18 when I'm 34 and she's already really wise and, mature for her age. So she doesn't require a lot of hands-on stuff. She needs more emotional support and guiding and stuff. So it's like, with that being said, like I realized that spirits kind of like created a situation where like I can have that childlike experience in my older age, right? So, like, I was in survival mode now, but you best believe I know for a fact that, 35, 40, like, these years are about to be lit for me. It's going to be nothing but traveling and laughing and spending time with my friends and family and, being creative and doing all the things that my heart desires. And so, Um, yeah, the childhood, I feel like I signed up for that, like, it was an obstacle course, and I would honestly do that obstacle course again. Like, I don't prefer to, which is why I'm so big on trying to get my life together right now, because 'cause I'm not trying to come back to this ghetto ass planet. I don't wanna do it. I love y'all, but the energy is too tense, it's too strong, and I really just wanna get to the 5th
Run with
dimension,
this
the 5th
raggedy
dimension.
ass planet.
Yeah, I really just want to be able to just be love and like receive love and like help each other. And like, I know that that place exists because that is my home. Like, I crave for that longing because I know that I've experienced it before and my soul knows that it's possible. So, I want to place all the light and love onto the planet that I can. And I want to activate whatever areas in a crystalline grid that I can, which is why I want to travel to all the energy vortexes, get to Egypt, get to Cairo, and travel through Africa and stuff. But like, I'm very thankful because through all of this, like, all of my childhood, all of these traumas, all of these lessons is really creating a really exciting future for me, you know? And that's the way I tend to look at it is like, okay, well, that sucks, but what's the good things from it? Because there's always light. There's always light to be found in the darkness. It's just about you creating it, you transmuting it. Like sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it'd be nice if our parents was the light we needed in that darkness, or if our any if we
Mhm.
just had a light outside of our own in the darkness. But sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have to ignite that light within ourselves, you know? And so, oh, and that part gets me emotional
Yeah.
because, like we should have support systems and we should have sisters and brothers and people who we just know just wants the best for us. But, sometimes our path is more of that lone wolf path, more of that, like, like I'm
Don't get me
blessed.
to crying now. Don't get me to
You know, like, and it's like I'm very, very grateful because Spirit has given me amazing people throughout my life, like who have nothing to do with being blood family. But like, like my best friend, like another one of my really close sisters, like these are people that like they step up and they do what I would expect my family to do, and vice versa, when that time is needed. And so it's like being able to, I don't know, recognize, understand, and place into action the
Mhm.
knowledge. You know, like that's the only reason you go through what you go through. Like I'm convinced it's not because
True,
in
true.
karma, I do believe in karma so somewhat, but in reality, when I see something bad happen to somebody, like my first thought isn't, well, what did you do to deserve that? My first thought is, well, what is the stemming? What's the core? Where's the core of this action coming from?
Mhm.
And so it's like being able to just understand that everything that we go through happens for a reason. And it's really because we have the possibility, the capability of becoming 10 times stronger, 100 times stronger than we'd ever be without those situations.
Absolutely.
Like being able to finally grow into my voice and voice how I feel, communicate. Because even after that, like I was bullied from preschool all the way up to my senior year, like horribly, like pictures taken of me and my hair while living with my foster parents because my foster parents was like 21 and 24 and a completely different race than me. So they didn't know what to do with my hair. So everything from having, you know, um, myself be exposed in that vulnerable state like that and that being made into a bullying target, to being in workplaces and fighting to get a degree and being the only melanin person in the school and in the program trying to get that degree, and then the only melanin person in all of the facilities that you go to for your learning, and then just seeing that system fight against you and take advantage of you, like all of this stuff is because I could handle it. Like they created a perseverance award for me in my graduation when I graduated college.
That they
Like
did.
it was the first year that it had been given out, but it's because they knew that they really had put me through like, the ringers. Like I had to fight for that, and I had given up honestly. Like it's a few times, I'm not gonna say that I just be going through all of this stuff and it just be easy. Like a couple times I'll be ready to give up and I don't care. Like, but like because I get tired, my soul is tired. Like I feel like my soul in the deepest level is tired, like, and I'm thankful that I have the energy and the strength to do this again. But I promise you, y'all not gonna feel my energy back on this planet when I leave. Okay, we're gonna reincarnate because the lessons are being learned, and so that's really like we have all this stuff we find important, like cars and financial gain, and while that stuff helps us in the matrix, that stuff doesn't help your soul. It makes your soul feel good temporarily, but like it just takes one bad fire out of nowhere, to take all of that away. And so it's just crucial for us to remember that like our strongest our biggest priorities in life need to be the things that our great grandchildren will actually care about, the stories, the ripple effect that we leave. How big is that? How many rings can you leave with just your one? Like how big and wide could that expand? Because for me, I want to heal a million people, you know? Like I feel like I got enough energy from that traumatic childhood, stored up enough pain and energy for me to be able to transmute that into being able to heal a million people, you
No,
know? And so it's like, we can turn that into material gain, our pain, or we can just simply just transmute the pain and use it to do whatever we want to do in life, Like a lot of the millionaires, a lot of the multimillionaires, billionaires that are out right now, like they weren't born into rich families. Like they they didn't like and a lot of them they still like only what 27% of millionaires actually are driving around in a brand new car. Like material stuff is not what matters. It's the lessons. I promise you that multi-million dollar entrepreneur like Jeff Bezos probably appreciates his story, his journey to getting that million a lot more than he does the cars that he
mhm,
can buy with the money,
right.
you know? And so, like, all of our stories hold treasure, gold, value, wisdom, knowledge for everyone. If we can actually just make that the focus and not be the victim, not focus on, well, like vengeance, because you can use that energy and turn it into a vengeance where everything you do, you're doing to prove those people wrong.
Mhm.
But like those people most of the time don't even care,
That's
like,
interesting what that you call that you said that. I don't want it vintage, bro, but
no, you're good.
that was very profound. Wanting to prove other people wrong is a form of vengeance.
Hmm.
No one looks at it that way. We normally look at that as a motivation, but no,
Hmm.
you are putting all of this energy into proving something to someone else, and it's not
Yeah.
necessary.
Mm-mm. It's
So
not.
that's so it, that in itself is not a good thing. I'm glad you said that. I
Yeah.
would say that I go out of my way to try to prove people wrong, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna keep that in mind if I ever end in that energy and not even waste it.
Right, exactly. Because yeah, if you're doing something, you're doing it because you want to do it. It doesn't matter what they say, you know. It
That's a
doesn't
fact.
matter what they think about it. They don't. It doesn't because 9 times out of 10, when someone's telling you something, they're just projecting onto you.
That's a fact.
So for everyone who said that you couldn't do something that God showed you could do, it's because they can't see themselves doing it. But that's because they're not supposed to do it. That's your vision. That's your calling.
That's a fact.
So what's it matter if like the energy is gonna be completely different you spend? Like for me, when I became a teen mom, I got pregnant at 15. One of my really close friends, like the first thing she said to me was, "You're never gonna be able to graduate now. Like you kind of like just fucked your life up, like basically." And I was looking like, but I'm a really good student. So
That
let's
part.
bring together,
That part,
you
exactly.
know?
Yes.
And so like I was able to like transmute that. And I
Right.
did. I used it as a venge, like not as a venge. I used it as fuel to my fire. But
Mhm.
I wasn't obsessing over her every day that I was going through school and getting my assignments turned in and conquering, the education system.
Do this right.
Like
I got to
now,
show you.
when I walked across that stage, her face came through my mind, and those people, what her, that conversation replayed in my head. But it's not like the entire 2 years or what. I graduated high school and got my associates in science. So like it wasn't like that 4 6 year period. It's like I got to get to school to prove her wrong. Like, like I got to
Mhm.
graduate. It
Absolutely.
was just like, well, she said I can do it. So am I going to not do it or am I going to do it? Like
That
either
part.
one. She's giving you the
Is she
the
right or is she
inclination that
wrong?
you might fail. Right. Exactly. So are you gonna fail or are you gonna pull through? You know, like
I
it's
love
all
it.
about your perspective on stuff. When people tell you things you don't want to hear, they're really just telling you what you already feel in the back of your head, you know? Like and it sucks. Like I had my ex randomly call me weak a while ago. And like that tore me up. Like I was pissed. Like I ain't never had nobody call me weak. I feel like, you know, most people's always like praying and laying my praises at my strength. And
Mm.
so to hear him call me weak, I was like, who do you think you are? But then I like had to search for a second and deep down inside, I felt like I had placed myself in a weak position, you know? And
That
like I had to like come to that self-realization that no, you don't appreciate the tone of the message. I don't appreciate who the message is coming from. And I don't appreciate the way the message was said. But at the end of the day, this message is being brought to me because it is going to trigger me and it is going to have me looking at myself just to make sure I ain't weak. Like, you
message.
know?
Ooh, story of the past month of my life, sis. I promise you.
Yes, yes.
I
Tell me
totally.
about it. Yeah.
Well, I really don't have much commentary. I really ain't got nothing to say. I want to thank you, you know what I'm saying, for saying everything you say, because this is what I be trying to say to folk. This is what I'm always trying to convey. And a lot of people think that it's just easy for me to say that because I haven't gone through this or I haven't gone through that. So, like I said, I haven't gone what you went through. And you've gone through a lot worse than some of the folks that I know, and yet here you are having those that same perspective that I have, understanding that these are lessons you signed up, especially if you're into the spiritual realm. You
Hmm.
understand that you came here for a reason, and you signed up for all of the lessons that you need to become who you're supposed to come. And
Hmm.
the more you focus on that, you know what I'm saying, the easier your path gets.
Hmm.
It's refreshing to see that I'm not the only one who's getting that.
Yeah, no, it's vice versa. I swear, vice versa, because people be looking like, ain't no way I signed up for this shit. And I'm like, but I promise you did.
I
Are you
promise
getting
you,
through
I
it?
promise
You
you.
ain't
I
taken out yet,
promise
have
you.
you?
That's
Like,
a
you know?
fact. That's a fact. Again, like it's really, yeah. So just embrace it.
Yeah, because
You
that's
gotta
all you
embrace
can
it.
do. It's not gonna go away. Even if you kill yourself, I am 100% sure that my soul can tell you that you will come back because there's entities, and this is where I have to get comfortable with my whole message, okay? Because I'm
Mhm.
extraterrestrial as hell, and like that's weird as hell to a lot of people. And that was weird to me, but now it's just that my life just reflects it so much that I have no choice but to accept it and embrace it. And so, that's something else that I have to start getting comfortable talking about is that like a lot of this stuff I went through because my soul is different. And like when I say my soul is here with a mission and a plan to be finished, like that's it, that's all. Like everything that comes in this reality is contributing to and creating the queen, the being that I need to be for the end goal, the end result, which is me being in my highest form, my highest consciousness, being as much love and light as possible, and helping as many people heal themselves as possible. And so it's like, well, lost my train of thought for a second, you guys. I apologize. Because there's a lot just going through my head. But oh yes, so like the extraterrestrial part, like there's a lot going on right now. Like I spend a lot of my mornings in the astral realm, um, like as a archangel, fighting energies, fighting demons. Like right now, I have entities that's attacking my family, and I feel like it's part of my gifts and part of honorable responsibility that I have for my generation, for my family to actually go and combat these entities, these spirits that have latched onto my family for generations. Um, and so it's like my childhood provided my armor, and I'm thankful that I had to go through all it was kind of put through that ringer as a child. So because you go through that child childlike phase, that childlike mentality whenever you want to. I can turn on Moana right now and and get all giddy
I
inside.
watched that
It,
movie. It
that is
is
my
so,
movie.
yeah. All of Enchanto too is another one.
Yes.
All of these movies. So
They got
inspiring.
messages in them,
Yes.
right?
Those
Just like
trials they got in the, oh yes, yes, ma'am.
yes,
Yes,
like
ma'am.
they have messages in them, and so it's like Moana for me, like that movie is a child's movie, but for me, when I watched it, I saw like the feminine energy going on a journey to save herself, to save her people by saving herself and discovering herself,
That's
and like
right.
the deity, the goddess that ends up, like that's
Yeah,
a,
the mother, oh,
amazing
that movie is
representation.
so beautiful. Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so it's like
Absolutely.
a beautiful representation of how this world, our traumas, our obstacles can
Yeah.
steal the light from within us and turn us into these dark, cold beings, especially Black women. The world wants to make Black women into this bitter, like angry,
Mhm.
just like intolerable being. And a lot of times that's not our core. Like if we could just have that love placed back into us, that light placed back into us, like it would rebirth us, it would reawaken us. A lot of us are just stuck in that trauma, you
That's it.
know? And so I know I be jumping all over with my
Nah,
conversations, y'all,
exactly.
but it's just so much, like so whenever I am feeling like too much of a like hopeless adult or like life is being overwhelming, adulting's getting too much, I will go throw me on a Disney movie that I, feel like is not like any perverted intentions in it, but one where one of their writers is, I swear, one of their writers is like, is he's infiltrated their system, and they love him to death.
Mhm.
But his messages be for like the chosen ones, like he makes sure that you get the messages, especially once you're an adult and you can watch the movie with analyzation rather than just getting caught up in the graphics. So it's like yeah, using all these things, like, because I do realize that I didn't have a childhood. Like in reality, like I had a very much adult like childhood. I make sure to do fun shit. like,
Hey,
like I love doing fun stuff. And this is another way to heal my inner child. I go and I make sure that like I love being able to take my daughter to the trampoline park. Or like I went and shot guns. I was shooting big boy guns the other day, girl. Like I went to the shooting range and was shooting the big boy guns.
well, when you get down here, girl, please, because
Yes,
I'm
and
trying to
it's
learn
like,
all of that. I'm trying to learn all of that.
yeah, it's like get in the energy of doing what makes you happy. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Like it doesn't matter if people find it childish or not. Maybe you didn't get to be a child. Maybe you weren't getting to be childish when you were supposed to be being childish. And
That's
so if you have a responsible um if you're able to do that responsibly to where you're not like, doing it in an unhealed or irresponsible way, like, because sometimes it can come through not being able to have control, like over utilizing or over accessing things that you don't need to, like sex, like drugs, like alcohol. And so being that, but man, you give me some board games, you give me bowling, you give me anything that I enjoyed as a child, even like eating ice cream in the middle of the night randomly once a year. Like being able to do this stuff, like that's how you entertain that inner child. Also, for me, it was important for me to be able to go to it's important for me to be able to go to YouTube, and through YouTube, I found these meditation videos, and these meditation videos I use um, during the like. You're able to use them while you go to sleep. They're about 8 to 10 hours long, and they're called inner childhood trauma work or meditations. And basically what it is it's like a guided meditation that takes you back to that child, that afraid child that you was, like that scared child, and you're able to kind of go and be that parenting energy for yourself that you need to be that guardian, that voice of calmness, that stillness that you needed for yourself. You can go back because time and distance really don't exist. They just exist in this matrix. Shoot me, don't kill the messenger. I'm just, telling y'all what I know. This is my truth,
like my
okay?
mama said, teach.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, mama.
Girl,
Yes, ma'am. Nice. Hello, mama. How are you? Happy Saturday. Um, but it's one of those things where it's like I got excited about mama and lost my train of thought again. I'm so squirrel minded. But what was I saying, sis?
You know, now you done lost my train of
See?
thought. Because I'm gonna be right now. I'm a student today.
Yeah.
You are teaching me. You are clarifying for me.
Mm,
You know what I'm
I
saying? All of
appreciate it.
these things, and I appreciate you. I definitely
No,
appreciate you. People don't.
I appreciate you, you know, presenting this opportunity to me and just the growth that we've been able to do through this whole podcast. Like I want to collect. I can't wait. I don't know when we'll be done because there's so much to talk about. But like that series, and then also just being able to watch us and the growth that we're able to experience through talking about it and then talking about our experiences so often. Like this is a very beautiful environment and situation that we are creating, and so it's my honor. Like it's a huge honor of mine to be able to um, tell my story and to share my advice and things that may resonate with people to help them through their journey, because it can be a tough journey. It can be. It's not a tough journey. It can be a tough journey. It's about our perspective, right? And
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
I chose not to be a victim.
Reflection.
Yes.
Because yeah, again, like I said, I got my issues, and I've been always been very vocal and comfortable talking about certain things, especially if it's going to help somebody. Yeah,
Yeah.
just talking about myself, I'm not really cool with, but if it's to help you or to make somebody, their lives better, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
So for you to come on out and do this, because like I said, I got issues, but if I was to do the scale, you know what I'm saying, you heavyweight in it right now. You Tyson,
Yeah.
I'm a lightweight over here. You heavyweight in it, and that's dope of you. So I appreciate
And yeah, and I don't like that. I don't like because I don't like I said, for me, I don't see I appreciate you, mama. But for me, I feel like each one of us, our stories is powerful, traumatizing, challenging to the depth that we need it, right?
that's
You
right.
know? And so it's like it could have been just what you went through could have been just as serious to you as how, because really I was nonchalant. At one point in my elementary, like, like I literally remember a teacher coming up to me being like, "You're the happiest child in the school. You are always smiling. You are so positive. Like you're always so friendly." And like I'm
Dope.
going through like hell when I leave that school. But
That's dope.
for me, it was just like, okay, like I know I got to go through hell or be in this environment while I'm at home. Like, why be in that while I'm out of, even if I'm getting bullied? Like, if I got girls trying to beat me up outside at school, I'm just gonna stay in with the teacher till 5, 6 o'clock in the evening and work on some work. Like it
That's dope.
never it it seemed like the end of the world, but it never seemed like the end of the world. I just thought everybody was going through this stuff. Honestly, I feel like the stuff that I was going through,
That's dope.
it
That's
it
dope.
just
You
wasn't.
came up with that.
Um,
That's amazing.
but I feel like if I wouldn't have had that mindset, then it probably would have taken me out. you know, like I was
Mhm.
blessed with a sense of a certain amount of protection over my reality.
Understand.
When it came to my reality, like I grew up waking up, fighting grown men, protecting my mom. You know, a bunch of different things. Yeah, yeah, and that's like I feel like that's the biggest thing to be grateful for. Is the strength to get through our obstacles because it doesn't have that same effect on a lot of people. Like if anything, I'm just really grateful. I'm really grateful, because it's a lot to, I understand. This is why I understand drug addicts. This is why I understand child molesters. This is why I
Mhm.
understand murders, and because I understand that the world has a really great way of beating on us and beating on us, and sometimes that pressure does not form a diamond. Sometimes that pressure
Crush.
crumbles us.
Yeah,
Yeah, it crushes you. And so that's the overall energy when telling my story is just gratitude that I was exposed to all these paths. That's another thing. Like drugs, cocaine was brought to me as a path that I could go down. Alcohol last year was a path that I was introduced to that I could go down. And all of these different paths trying to, get off the path of healing. Basically, I had all these different opportunities in my life where I could choose the path of suppression, where I could just numb up
Yeah.
and ignore the pain because there's a lot of pain, you know? And so I understand why people sometimes choose those paths
Yep.
because it's a lot of freaking pain. And um it's our paths are our paths for a reason, you know? For the people
Mhm.
that do end up taking those paths, it's not that they're less than me. It's not that they're weaker than me. They just had lessons with that path too. Whereas,
I
for
love it.
me, like I've seen my grandmother as I didn't see her as a crackhead, but I seen the after effects, of her being a cocaine addict. I seen the effects. I dated a guy whose father was an alcoholic. So, seeing the lifestyle of alcoholic, cops, watching cops as a little girl. There's certain images of the poor souls on there that I was able to keep and hold in my mind. Being a teen mom, you know, having that responsibility at 15 that I took seriously, that anchor, like being able to keep that anchor on the right path. These are things that God gave me, that spirit gave me to be able to help me with deterring and keeping away from those paths. But everyone doesn't have all of these things set up. Some people are meant to go down those paths and experience those lessons as well, you
That's it.
know?
Mhm.
Um, and so I hope that I'm brought more of those people. Those are the people that I want to help. You know, those are the people that I feel that I can help. And I feel like I go through all of these challenges and obstacles to overcome them to help more people. So from sexual abuse to divorce to drop out in college and failure, like to fail business. Now we can add that. And that's not even really a failed business. It's like I said, I had this false responsibility to start up this business for my intermediate family. And I actually put myself in the hole just trying to keep something going that in reality nobody's caring to utilize at all. And
Yeah.
so that the fear of rejection, the fear of not being enough, like all these experiences that I had, having to go through the drugs and go through like all this stuff. It was so that I could see a drug addict, I could see an alcoholic, I could see a grieving mother, or I could see an abandoned child. And I could actually resonate on that level of genuinely knowing the energy that they were in to
That's
be able to pull them out of it. And
that's right.
that's why the ones who do come out of it, we come out of it. And that's how we should look at it and utilize it. You
Mhm.
know, if you're making it through these obstacles, do not stay in the victim mindset. You became a warrior. These things make you a warrior, and what you're fighting for is the souls of the people around you, because we're at a war right now. Well, that's what I'm fighting for because everyone's mission isn't the same as mine. But
Absolutely.
that's what I'm fighting for. I understand that we are in complete spiritual war right now. And everything that I went through as a child was for right now, in this moment, right now, because I didn't have time to wait until I was 20 to be going through all of these lessons and trying to learn them. You know,
That's right.
like I'm only 28 and the world is real right now. So if my childhood, if I had to sacrifice that to get my training in, then I'm okay with that. You know, you have to like be
I'm trying to tell you.
realistic about.
Trying to tell you. I was
Yes.
15 years old. I'm grateful that I'm getting this now because I don't want to be 50 and 60 years old going through the same stuff and trying to figure out because the older you get, the more set in your ways you are, and that makes it
Hmm.
that much more harder. And people don't understand this is why I try to push, the people that I'm around to really get your lesson, really learn and apply
Hmm.
what you're learning because
Yes.
it ain't gonna go away. And the older you get, the harder that's going to be.
Hmm.
So, postpone your pain. The pain is inevitable. You know what I'm saying? Ease that up for yourself because you got to learn these lessons because you are who you are. You know what I'm saying? Especially folks, you know what I'm saying, who are special. Everybody wants to be special, but don't understand that there's responsibility that comes with that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
It
to get to
is.
the pinnacle, there's certain things that you got to deal with. That's why they say it's lonely at the top.
Right. Because you gotta be able, and that's what
People up there,
Um,
can't people down here can't deal with what goes on up here. That's why it's
Yeah.
few up here and many down here. So if you're
Yeah.
gonna be up there, there's a level of responsibility because now you
And
have to make sure everybody at the bottom is on point if you want your pyramid to stand.
exactly, because that's your foundation,
Yeah,
basically
you
like
gotta
your
make
legacy.
sure that that the foundation is tight. That's why you up there. You made your
Hmm.
bed, but you gotta maintain it.
And
And
Yeshua said that, like in the Bible for me, I feel like when I was reading the Bible, I was actually just looking at it for what it was. I wasn't looking for fairy tales and stories. Like I was just seeing like they said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That was just very clear cut. That wasn't no magic spell. That was like I will never forget
hey,
it actually glowed in the sun, like on the wall. And for me, that was like, girl, like if you don't do that, like you're not living right. Like, and it was like my soul wanted to do that because that just made sense. If I'm nice to people, they're gonna be nice to me back. You put out what you want to get. And so I understand that. But even like when Yeshua said, you have to be able to leave all of your family, all of your material gain. You have to be able to detach from all of this stuff to walk the path that I'm walking. Because at any point, any of that stuff could leave you, and if any of that stuff was to leave you, are you in the position with the strength to be able to keep going on your path? Or is that the one thing that's going to take you out?
that's it. And that's
You
why they
know?
always, I know for me, that's why the universe always uses the people around me, you know what I'm saying, to
Hmm.
teach me my lessons because those are the people who move me. Not to say,
Hmm.
I love people and all of that jazz, but it's those people that, can change my mood and all that. And that's why they
Hmm.
always use them to make
Hmm.
their point and to test me to see where I'm at, what I'm saying, on this journey. And if I'm gonna give up. And I
Hmm.
refuse. I refuse to give up. So that's why whatever it is, even if I got a slight tude about it, I'm saying
Hmm.
words gratitude so it can
Yeah.
calm me down so I can get back into the energy of that gratitude because it's a lesson. It just makes me alert. That's how that
Yeah.
is like an alert button, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And when stuff like that. So any negative feeling, okay, all right, Tamara, plump queen, what something is something that needs to change or something that you
Right. Why
fix.
is this not feeling good to my
I,
soul?
I
Because
stop
everything
feeling
should
good.
feel good.
Exactly. So what
Right.
can
Everything.
everything, everybody, don't matter who.
Yeah, everything in your environment, from the food that you eat to the music you're
Yes,
listening to the people you talking to, it should give you a feel good feeling. If it don't give you a feel good feeling, then what are you doing? Like, and how can we fix
absolutely.
that? Does it need to be gone, or does it just need to be transmuted? Because a
Love
lot
it.
of people, like
Yeah.
their marriages and stuff, it's like my marriage don't. I'm not happy in my marriage and stuff, and then they do just give up. But in reality, you never even gave your spouse a fair chance by just simply communicating and being true to yourself and telling them what you truly needed. You know? So it's like it just because it
Mhm.
don't feel good don't mean it don't fit. Sometimes it just requires work, because that work creates value,
That's right.
you know? And so it's like being able to recognize that and just, you know, move accordingly with stuff. Like make sure everything in your life feels good. Like I was in school for 3 years as an x-ray tech and lasted 2 years because I'd be down if I'm about to have a whole bunch of people bossing me around and overworking me and then bullying me as an adult. And putting me in situations where I don't feel good for 12 hours out the day. Like it was so bad that I broke out in eczema psoriasis 2 weeks before my bodybuilding competition. And when I asked what it was and where it came from, the doctor's like, it's like a hybrid of eczema and psoriasis, and it's purely caused by stress. What?
Get rid
Like
of the stress.
this rash was literally from my neck down to the bottom of my feet. Like,
Mm.
and it was ugly and it was terrible. And you mean to tell me that's just because I'm allowing these people to stress me out for some money that I can find another way to get? Like, no, we're not doing that, that don't.
80% of people on earth right now.
Yes, everybody vaccinated right now. Why? Because they said they had to keep their job.
Yep.
And if that's the choice that you made, I'm not judging you, but I'm just gonna be real and tell you that there was other options. You could have chose faith. You could have trusted your intuition and chose faith, you know?
Let
So
me
it's like the
give you a solo
situations.
shot. with that one. Go
I feel
ahead. You know
like
what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, I love you. This is all with love, but like I'm kind of getting tired of people making excuses on why they took this shot and now they trying to get everybody else to join their bandwagon because they know they messed up and they don't want to be alone on this messed up bus that they did jumped on. Like if you struggling with do I keep my finances or my peace of mind when it comes to my body and what's being placed in it and what could possibly be being done to it. Like, I promise you, you're gonna feel way better leaving that job. And well, you may not. It could be a whole journey onto faith because some people need to learn faith. I've become really good at faith because I've lived out of my car. I left my x-ray job when I was breaking out in rashes and stuff. I quit, didn't have any savings, and I left and I went down to Georgia and I lived and every day was me working, doing Uber and Lyft, and just like going with the wind, like asking spirit, which way do I need to go? And I ran into producers. I met so many amazing souls, people who could help me, like people who could like that faith, that was the biggest leap I've ever taken in my life, and it paid out tremendously. Like it, and then like the payout wasn't even long lasting because because there was lessons with there was lessons with that too. But the thing is, like I had the faith, you know, I had the faith, and like it paid out. That was to show me where having faith will get me, you know. And so now I'm not as emotionally torn up at leaving again. And this time I know what to do. This time I know what steps to take and I know every step in, all that jazz. But like it comes with lessons and it comes to experiencing it. Like you can't be afraid to not have Peters giving you a paycheck every week when in reality, like if something happens to you, that paycheck's gone for your family anyways. They're not gonna keep paying your family if you die, you know? And so it's like, why not go ahead and live? Like, what are we waiting on? Because I don't want to be lit. Well, I'm already a Taurus, and I have like a very well balance of laziness along with my productivity. So I know damn sure I'm not trying to be 60 working. Like I'm not trying to be 45 working hard. Like like I want to be purely in my mission because my mission feels good. So that's never work, right? That's always just me just getting to do what I want to do, like and help people. Like that's not work to me. But as far as like ever clocking in for somebody else, ever like no, like I don't want to get this nipped in the bud. I don't care about your 401k because I don't plan on working until I'm old enough to get the retirement plan, like
For real, ain't nobody about to get none no 401k. The way the world is going, nobody is going to get any of that. And they already pushing up retirement. What is it, 70 now?
hmm
It's 70.
something like that.
Yeah, so they
And I
didn't.
wish I would.
Yes, they took it up 5 years. So now you have to wait until you're 70 to no, no.
And
I'll be
what's that good for? What energy are you gonna have after giving all of your energy to whatever job you at? What energy do you, especially if you're not conscious of how to recharge yourself? Just imagine being 70 and just eating bad and not listening to good music or healing music and not doing any healing. Like this is why our grandparents are not living that long. Like, because they are just working their lives away, literally working their souls away, working their essence away daily. Like I'm a firm believer in self-regeneration. You will not drain me. You will not take my last being because you're not the one that's meant to take my last essence and being. You
okay.
know, I can share it with you, but I will not give you all of me, because I have so much to give. And so I'm very picky when it comes to balancing my energy and making sure that, it's actually being placed into things that can recharge me or that is actually going to transmute and use it, turn it into more energy. Like
Okay.
I'm not really for gossiping. Like I'm not for talking about other people. Like I don't care. I don't care what the celebrities are doing. Like have no care at all because like what is me giving them my energy doing for my mission?
Making them rich, making them
Right.
powerful, giving them keeping them in a position what you trying to get into, but
Exactly.
you're giving it to them.
Just imagine all the people who are trying to do something with their life, but they spend hours and hours just scrolling.
Yep.
And I'm only saying that because I was one of those people. The first night I downloaded TikTok, I literally it got to a point where the random little video came up, y'all, and they literally telling my ass I need to go take a bathroom break. and go shower, or
Big
go
time does
get
that?
some sleep. Yeah,
Really?
you can and I feel like I didn't even realize that time had went by. Like I was just
That's
scrolling. Like I
funny.
was just being fed. They was just getting those endorphins going. And I looked up, girl, and yeah, they telling me, I know you got something else to be doing besides still on here. I'm like,
Yikes.
dang, how long was I on this site?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
bad
and that's but
telling each other.
yeah, and so there's a lot of people who don't have that, self-awareness of, hey, this is not healthy for me just to scroll for hours every single day. But like in reality, you're just giving them your essence. You're giving these apps your essence, your energy. You're just pouring into your energy.
That's
And
so
so
true.
it's like it's
That's
very important that you're mindful with
something
who
that
you
you
give
don't
your
put
energy to.
they can't
You
they
said
can't they can't produce nothing that you don't put into it. Yeah, like
exactly
you always saying how, the internet and Facebook ruins your life. Nah, you ruin your life because you got to put the information out there. You got to
right.
take your business you got to type that stuff in.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? For it to go down. So no, you're absolutely
Like you said, though, it's about what it's like how much you give your energy to. Just like a lot of the stuff going on right now. And it's gonna be little energy. I'm gonna try to give this very minimal energy because we don't want to give them energy.
right.
But
Gotcha.
this war,
Oh.
that war, in
Mhm.
my reality now, it's not that I don't care about the beings in anywhere that's suffering, because I care about everybody suffering. But me talking about this war every day, and me being in that energy of war, and that's not helping the people over at Ukraine at all. It's just giving the news more power.
Yep.
It's just giving these entities more fear to feed off of.
Yep.
So, like, no, I don't care to talk about that. I don't care to talk about the election. I don't care to talk about politics. I don't care to talk about a lot of the stuff that's going on in the world right now, because that's what they want from us. They want us to give them that energy. And
Yep.
so it's not a bad thing for you just simply not to give a fuck, because that's sometimes the best. Sometimes the best thing you can do to weaken a situation is to not give energy to it.
That's exactly what you do. You've energy starved them. Yeah. And I don't like to talk about politics either, but this is what I told everybody about Trump. Everybody blamed everybody for not voting and all that. No. Y'all talked about that man every day, all day. Y'all energetically put that man in that seat
Hmm.
because y'all made everybody look at him, see him. You
Hmm.
helped manifest him in that space because y'all kept talking about we don't want him there, we don't want him there, we don't want him there, we don't want. So you know what the universe gave you? Exactly what you
Yeah,
said.
exactly.
Had you
Exactly.
ignored him, if he's clearly not the anybody that you feel is truly not qualified, you don't give him the time of day. That's
Right.
how politics works, how rich folk work. If you're not on our bracket, if you're not that important, we're not going to give you energy. You're not invited to the table. So it's the same thing. If y'all
Yep.
really not want that man in that seat, you'd have just ignored him and act like he wasn't, you know what I'm saying, he wasn't worth anything.
Yep.
That would have had to
Exactly.
move on and find somebody else to put on that ticket.
Hmm.
But he said and done all these outland, and we watch this stuff on TV all the time. That's what kills me with people. Like he says the most outlandish things, and they just be like, "Oh, he's just a pigget, and he just is." No, y'all just stupid. He may not even
Right.
believe any of that stuff, but he knows he's going to get a reaction out of it.
Right.
That's why he's
It's
saying
because
it. He knows y'all
yes.
will react to it and not do a damn thing. So this is why he does it.
Yep.
Not because he really believes that stuff. Not
No,
even
it's
if
because
he
it's an
doesn't want to
emotional
do that stuff.
reaction.
It's
We
an
react off our
emotional
emotions.
reaction. So you can be
Hmm.
tied in to what he's saying and what they got going on, honestly, politically.
Yep. Just like a lot of I don't really care how y'all feel about this. This is my truth, and I love y'all through saying it. But Black Lives Matter.
Oh,
First off, these people who have created Black Lives Matter know that black is just a color, and it doesn't give you any ownership to being a human, basically, or being an actual being and entity on this planet. You
tell it.
know, and so they got a whole race of people marching to colored lives matter. It's not about that. People think that they're marching for a class of people, for a race of people, but you're not. And when you say Black Lives Matter, you're really only saying color lives matter. And white people are colored too. Like, so at the end of the day, then you're still just saying all lives matter. Like that's the fuckery.
Business.
Pardon my language, but yes, it's business. Like this is all business. Like we're being emotional about the stuff. Like I drove my tail up to Louisville. I'm only an hour and a half away. I drove up to Louisville in support of Breonna Taylor and stuff, and fed into that energy. But then I realized, like, man, I'm really staying tore up. Like I'm really staying emotional. Like 2019, 2020, like that's all they did. It was just black and white, everything. Cops killing everybody. Cops still killing people, y'all. Like, and then there's still really good cops out there. Like none of that. That was really just propaganda. And that's all it is. If they need to use the Black Lives Matter card again for propaganda, you know what? Out of nowhere, we all gonna be protesting and stuff again in this summer. Somebody else gonna be murdered, and it's gonna be all over TV. And those emotional triggers are gonna go, and we're going to be feeling the pain that in reality we felt long time ago, and it's just in our ancestral DNA, because a lot of people are really cold to death. Y'all really don't be caring about people dying at all. There be people in y'all neighborhoods getting shot left and right, people that dying, and y'all don't even care. So to say that you care about a random stranger that's on the news getting murdered, I promise you the reason you care about that person is because of the vision of seeing someone that looks like you being murdered and it being unjust.
That's a fact.
It's just an emotional trigger.
That's a fact.
That's what we have to realize. A lot of this stuff that they put on TV, a lot of these organizations, they have agendas behind what they do. They have intention. Everything is done with intention. Everything. So start asking yourself, why? What is their intention behind having so many negative stories? What's their intention behind just putting this war up? This war right now is a physical manifestation into this realm of the spiritual war going on right now. Like, is angels and demons for real fighting in the spiritual world? Because there's multiple realms to this. Like, and I don't know. I feel like if y'all, follow Plum Queen, then y'all know that there's levels to this. So, there's levels to this. And, right now, where our physical bodies are in this 3D world, but the war is in the spiritual. So it only makes sense. Like, I was not surprised at all. I have not been surprised at all about this war. It does not faze me. Unless I see missiles coming from the sky, that's when war has come into my reality. Because I've already known that there was a war going on.
I mean, everybody should have known that anyway. Like, when we think of war, you think about physical stuff, bombs, and like what they're going on right now. But ain't y'all been feeling that since 2020?
Yes.
Like, has life not felt like a battle at every turn? The decisions that even, what I'm saying, it may not be worded the same way. This is why I deal with spirituality, what I'm saying, instead of religion, because you can feel what's going on. The fact that we're being separated from each other, all the fighting with the 6 feet, this, that, and the third, all the attitudes.
It don't make sense.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that in itself is of an energy of war. And it's like, so how could that not sound or make sense? Again, you ain't got to believe nothing that nobody say. You use your own discernment about the information that you get, but you can't knock what you feel.
Right.
See what I'm saying? You may not know how to word what it is or define it, but you can't knock how you feel. And we all feeling this. You know what I'm saying? Most people have been feeling this war. There's been so much turmoil emotionally and mentally within, people's own private situations. You see what I'm saying? It feels like it's a war. There's a change.
It feels like revelations.
For you
feels like revelations.
That's what I'm saying, and that's one of Genesis and Revelations is the the two popular ones. So if you really believe in that, can't you feel it?
Right, because that's what's mind blowing to me.
It's
like all these Christians, like like the lack of realization, because I was raised Christian, so that was my core. So I know the Bible, and I'm up here looking at this like I know this has got to be the end of the world. Like this is exactly what I read about. This looks like Revelations. It smells like Revelations. It's acting like Revelations.
Smells like Revelations.
It's probably Revelations. Like that's how I see it. But everybody else is like, yeah, but they've been saying the world is going to end for years. And our grandparents thought that. But do you not know the story of the little boy who cried wolf? What was the reaction to the masses?
The world, the little boy who cried wolf. The world will never be destroyed, but different times on this earth does. There used to be an ice age. Dinosaurs used to walk this earth.
Yeah.
Not here anymore. So that
It's a
life,
new era.
that life ended. So yes, the life that what we know of is
That's
coming
where the
to an end.
Aquarian age,
Yeah.
the Aquarian age
Everything
is
that
coming
has
into be.
be is changing. So the way you
Mm-hmm.
think, the way you see things, all of that's gonna have to change, or you're gonna get swallowed up. And we all
Mm-hmm.
feel like in the moment, like, because we're so attached to our normal. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
why getting back to, I say our roots as far as spirituality and all that, because we prepared for stuff like that. We were prepared for things like that. We had a level of attachment, but we had that imbalance. Even with
Mm-hmm.
things with nature, even with our children now. This is not an African example, but I'm sure they got this from us. The movie 300, I always say it. They
Mm-hmm.
how they tell Leonidas' story, how when he became a child, he grew up, got into fighting. His destiny was to be the king. So how they do it, they go through a rites of passage. You're not a Spartan until you prove that you're one. The way that their culture
Mm-hmm.
works is all about strength and aggression, and you know what I'm saying, and all of that jazz. So Shorty had to go through fighting, had to go through the camp, leave his mom. His parents had to allow him to go out in the world by himself, and he had to come back as a Spartan, you know what I'm
As
saying?
a man.
As a man. You know what I'm saying? No
Right.
mama there to help him, no family there to help them. He had to go out in the
Same
wild.
with Moana. Why do you think I love the Moana story so much?
Absolutely.
Because her
That's
daddy didn't
how it
go
used
with
to
her.
be. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it used to
It was
be.
her in spirit.
We weren't coddled. And you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, back then, because our ancestors, you know what I'm saying, at the time we understood what life was really about. You know what I'm saying?
Experiences.
And I'm sure mothers had those, their feelings. I'm sure it was hard for them, but they had to embrace what that was because they know that was best for the child's journey, not for their
Mm-hmm.
feelings and how they feel about their attachment to their kid. You know what I'm saying? As
Right.
a baby. And we've been taken away from that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of our, you know what I'm saying, our discord comes from. And it's not to say that you're not supposed to be loving, you know what I'm saying, to your children and all that, but you do have to understand that they're not here for you. You didn't give
Right.
birth to your
And you
baby
have there's a responsibility
for you.
in
Yeah,
preparing them for this for the for the world.
absolutely. For them,
You
is
know.
absolutely. And sometimes that responsibility can be if you're not the person to do that. Like a lot of people don't like saying that it's my child, so I have to be with them. Maybe not.
Right.
What if it was only your purpose to give birth to them? Because that's how I feel about my father.
No, hey, I am a firm believer in that. Some
Yeah,
people's positions is only the
my biological father, I personally feel that it was only his job to bring me here. It was not for
Mhm.
him to be around me, for me to connect with his DNA on a certain level. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a lot of mental issues on that side of my family. He
Mhm.
himself is borderline schizophrenic. He's not violent, but he's definitely got a few screws loose. I have family members who have been in insane asylums longer than I've been alive. I have an aunt who killed
And
herself.
what I feel is that that side of your family is extremely powerful spiritually.
I
And the
bet.
level of spiritual war and attack being placed onto that side of your family is like in a grave amount.
That
Like
makes sense. That makes
there
sense.
yeah, there's like that's just how I feel is like you talking about that and then it being like most of the side that side of your family
Mhm.
is that in reality there was somewhere where the protection wasn't up like it was supposed to, and it's just a spiritual war going on, like all with this because I realized that schizophrenia, my grandmother dealt with schizophrenia and was on medication for it. A year into my journey, I began to become schizophrenic. But the reason I was beginning to become schizophrenic, now this is mind blowing because I didn't realize that my grandmother had dealt with this. I had never heard this before until, like I said, I was going through my spiritual journeys and stuff. Sometimes I do medicine ceremonies, which is like herbal trips to kind of uh, go into other dimensions and find more of myself and more awakening and stuff. And so, but I wasn't being responsible with the amount that I was taking or how often I was taking it. So I was going through a lot of medicine ceremonies to try and keep myself because I was suppressing, really. I was trying to escape this reality, and I was learning about myself and seeing the magic in the other realms, and so I was wanting to stay there and not
Wow,
interact with this reality. And I believe that's how schizophrenia begins. For a lot of people, not everyone, but for a lot of
that's
people,
interesting.
them trying to escape this reality
Hmm.
and going into their head and into the spiritual realm, sometimes they get so deep into it, they don't know how to pull themselves out, or they don't have a moment that really requires them to be pulled out of it. You
That's
know, for me, I was talking to a friend, and we weren't even talking about, I didn't even have an inkling that I thought I was going schizophrenic, but I was talking, he's talking about another friend who had went schizophrenic through his spiritual journey, and him jumping off the cliff basically is how he described it, into the abyss, but not knowing how to get back onto the cliff, you
hmm
know?
yeah.
And so when he said that, a light bulb dung in my head, and it was like just awakening. Like I had just kind of floated through my winter 2 winters ago. And so it was like I realized, oh, I've been floating in this reality, but I have not been here. What are we talking about right
Mhm.
now? Like it was like such a like powerful moment for me, that light bulb clicking on. And then I went and I was talking to my mom about it, and I'm like, yo, mom, like I really feel in my core like I just almost went schizophrenic and was just saved from it. Like, and she's like, Janisha, well, your grandmother dealt with that and was actually on medication for it. And when you was born, the doctors told me to watch you because, schizophrenia can jump generations.
Mhm.
It ain't schizophrenia jumping generations. It's these entities jumping generations and then us not knowing how to defend ourselves from them. You know?
I can dig.
Like that, and that's just a new epiphany for me, is that's what that is. A lot of these mental disorders is not mental disorders that we're just born with. It's spiritual attacks on our psyche and on our minds.
Yeah,
And
that's
and it's about us being able to, yeah, come up out of it. So it's like yeah, that's just what I felt. That was all of that led from, you saying
I can dig
that,
it. Well, that is the first time anyone has ever said that to me about that, and that seems like that is a possibility because
Mhm,
again, and this has all been told to me because my father didn't raise me. You know what I'm saying? I never honestly never met any of my family members on that side. I met my grandmother twice. She's no longer here. I never met my grandfather. He died before, I think, when I was either a baby. I think that was when I was a baby. And I've never met any of my aunts. I've had a couple of conversations with some of my cousins, but
mhm,
I have been completely, kind of just separated from them. And it
mhm,
makes me feel like that was on purpose because we
mhm.
are, because clearly I'm a spiritual being. You know what I'm saying? So clearly
It's
I
to
wasn't
keep you
supposed to,
okay.
yeah, it was supposed to
Mhm,
keep me, you know what I'm saying, from going to being unbalanced. So
mhm.
I
Yeah,
needed
my son.
I needed all my juju, but I needed to be in a different environment. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I didn't go that far. Maybe, the universe tried with them because I'm not sure. Because my all my aunts are older than me, my father's older than me, you know what I'm saying? So maybe the universe was trying to get one of them, you know what I'm saying, to get it, and it just wasn't working. So they was like, "I, we
Well,
got
we're gonna bring
we
somebody, but we
we gonna
gotta
bring
remove
somebody,
her.
but we got to
Yeah.
have you." And it just reminds me like the movies that you watch when you have the illegitimate child turns out to be a demigod or something like that. And they
Yeah.
had to, they had this hard life, but in reality, they're royalty, and you know what I'm saying, they have all this power and stuff like that, and they needed to live a certain life so that can be balanced. Because when you have a lot of power in you, especially in the realm that we live in, that can easily turn to a negative. Being egotistic,
Mhm.
when you become a villain, you know what I'm saying, become a tyrant. It's real easy
Yeah, because it's
to
the
become
angel and
that.
demon.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that
The
balance. What
angel demon balance is a balance, right? So yes, just
absolutely
like you can be good, you can be bad,
exactly
and
that.
vice versa. Anyone who's bad could have been good. They just want, and
Exactly.
that's okay. And I don't see it as good as bad, because I feel like everybody just walks the path that they supposed to. So for Hitler served the purpose. To most people, he's this horrible person, but the reality is he,
There's
had
a
a
lot
purpose to
more.
serve.
There's a lot more to him if you really go deeper into
I
the. There's
already
a
know.
lot
I
more.
already
There's a
know.
lot more to that.
I'm
But
not.
again,
Yeah.
what they show on TV, what they choose to teach you about history.
Right.
Or, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? We're trained to have perspectives on everybody and everything. You know what I'm saying? This is why doing your own research is so important.
Mhm.
That's why the things that I watched when I was a kid, things that I I take that with a grain of salt now. Now, with as an adult, I can have my own discernment. So with my life experience, I can start piecing that together and having a different perspective. That's why a lot of times I feel certain ways about things, and it shocks people because everybody assumed that because I'm all love and light, that whatever they deem positive or whatever they deem to be right and wrong, I'm going to automatically agree, or I'm not going to
Mhm.
see it a different way. And it turns out not that way. Like R. Kelly is an example of that for me. R. Kelly,
Mhm.
and I don't care what nobody say. I don't care nothing about that documentary, and I feel like everybody in that documentary should be locked up.
Mhm.
Period. If he going to jail, y'all all need to go to jail. Every parent of the women, you know what I'm saying, there, jail. You know what I'm saying? So okay, look like we having some difficulties, but it's all right. But yeah, so I am just excited. Once she's gonna fix her, her situation, and we're gonna be back. But I'm just excited about this show today. I felt like the student, and I learned a lot. And she has just truly, truly motivated me. You know what I'm saying, to continue to see the positive in everything and always find balance. Because I know she says that what she went through is not bigger or badder or better and all that, and she's right. You know what I'm saying? But the 3D in me, still feels like, wow, I, what I'm saying, I've never been through that. So I can't say who I would be if I had those experiences. I am who I am because of what happened to me. But I can't say if I was violated as a child and went through all of those, type of things, that I would be this person. You know what I mean? So for
Mhm.
someone to go through those things and be great and just have a level of, overstanding and consideration for even the people who hurt her, what I'm saying, in the worst way. Like I know I'm forgiving for folks because, I got cheated on. You know what I'm saying? My friend made a mistake, and that's what led to me, losing my arm. My mom was just going through whatever she was going through. She didn't mean to, whatever it is that, however she affected me, that wasn't her intentions, to do those things. But yeah, I've never been OD. Just I didn't have a rough life. I can't sit here and say that I had a rough life. So when I see people who can have a situation like that and still come out and just be as positive as me, if not more positive than me, I can't do nothing but pull my fro because I ain't got no hat on. But all I can do is pull my fro. You know what I'm saying? To it all. She's back. She's back. She's back. Hey, there you go.
You're so silly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like for real. So you're fucking awesome, man. Like, you know what I'm
I
saying? For
appreciate you,
real.
sister.
We need people. We
Okay.
need more people like you. We absolutely because
Man, no, we need less people like me. We need less people
no,
like
no,
me.
no. With your
No,
perspective, we need to okay, maybe not you particularly, but we need to
well,
adapt that perspective.
yes, exactly.
I'll
And
say
also, rather than having to focus on adapting the perspective, actually eliminating the trauma so that our children don't have this to actually go through. Like that's
that
the
part.
biggest thing is, yeah,
That,
we can teach people how to go through this, or we can just make sure that in as many ways as we are capable of, we are eliminating the possibilities for these situations.
mhm,
Like even if it's somebody that indirectly, like just making sure we're taking care of each other or looking out for each other, so that if a child is acting weird in your neighborhood that you see every day, like being able to be the mother to all, like without carrying that physical weight, but the care and the
yes,
compassion, keeping an eye out for hurting souls,
yes,
seeing somebody who you can tell they're hurting, and rather than just ignoring them, striking up a conversation, and maybe they release it if you can handle it, because you don't want to strike up a conversation and you over here going through your own stuff and ain't got the energy to deal with it. You're just gonna be annoyed. But when you given the energy to be able to share with others, just being on our toes and being active in that responsibility of looking out for each other, even if it's just emotionally, just being a voice or an ear for people to vent to. Sometimes a lot of people just feel like they don't have anyone to talk to
right.
about the stuff that they're going through. Sometimes all they need to do is just release it.
That's
you
it.
know? And so it's like, it's really, like I said, it's an honor to be able to do this journey. It's a tiring one, and all the realities, but it's such an honor, and I love it, and I'm very grateful because in reality, I mean, it's not an easy mission, but it's a really fun mission. Like doing the hard work, you got to work hard to play hard. Like I feel like I've done a lot of the hard work, and like it's getting ready time to be like play hard time, and
Right,
like
right.
that's just like traveling and like getting to be mobile with my healing gifts and travel to people and help heal communities and assist communities and different things that they need, informing people and teaching them on how to heal themselves energetically and physically. Like um, everything is with reason, and so you can look at it and find the negative in it, but you also have that as just as much of a chance of finding the positive in it.
That's right.
It's just about what you're looking for.
Yep, that's your
So
choice. Well,
yeah.
we've been on this for over an hour, so we gonna let you recharge yourself. Okay, we appreciate
I'm about to go,
it
girl.
so much.
You guys, it's so warm in Kentucky.
Yes,
I'm so
yes,
excited.
so
I'm
much.
about to go hiking.
You're
Yes, I'm
so
about to go
good.
hiking and be with Mother Nature and definitely
Wow.
recharge.
All right.
And yeah.
Well, tell them how to find you. What would you
You guys, we're gonna be doing a podcast and stuff. Right now, I'm in the process of rebranding and just kind of like taking a break from social media. But my social media is Misha's Love Tribe. You can find me on there. You can message me. I'm gonna keep Messenger up. I just won't be making a lot of posts, and that's just because I'm in a transitioning point in my life right now, and so I want to transition and transit make a clean transition, not be trying to do too much at once. Right now a lot of my energy is requiring me just to focus on transitioning. But if you ever want to email me, it's Misha's Healing Love at gmail.com. MISHAS Healing Love at gmail.com. You feel free to message me on Instagram. I'm not really gonna have Instagram. I'm really gonna take like too much from social media, you guys. So the best way to contact me is my email address, Misha's Healing Love at gmail.com. I love you all, and I appreciate you guys just being open to my story. This was big for me, and I appreciate you sharing this moment with me because this was, just important for me to be able to accomplish myself and be able to do it as a teacher rather than as a victim or, having the emotions tied behind it. So I can say that I feel we successfully did that. I hope you took something from it. And yeah, Timra, I just appreciate you and all of your being, sister. You're an amazing light, amazing, amazing light. And I'm thankful. I'm very thankful to have you in my life. I can't wait to get to Georgia with you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you are my reflection. So all of that right back at to you. I love, love, love you. So go ahead, get charged up and get with nature, and I'll carry us on out. Do your thing, girl.
All right.
I
Love
love
y'all.
y'all.
Peace.
Peace. All right. So that was awesome. Like I said, I am so proud of her, for, coming on out there and telling her story and being brave. So, I hope that, some people who have gone through what she has gone through got something out of this and just understanding that the way you turn your tragedies into triumph is all about how you look at it. There's a lot of things that you don't have control over in your life, but you do have control over how you react to them and what you do moving forward. And that's really the basis and the agenda of this podcast to help. So we can start helping and helping ourselves at the same time. So our children and the next generations, like she said, don't have to go through what we have to go through. Don't have to go through all these extra processes and transitionings. You know what I'm saying? If we don't put them through this in the first place. All right. So, of course, you guys know how to find me here on Facebook, Amspire Media Houston. If you're on IG, you can catch me at 9plump9queen9, TikTok, Spiritual Amputee, and this also airs on Anchor at Amspiration TTV. Also on YouTube, the YouTube folks, Amspiration TTV. Let's find, yes. So, of course, guys, April 9th. April 9th is my birthday, my solar return. I will be 37 years old, and I will be launching Inspire Media Network. I'm excited. You need to be excited. I've been getting in touch with a lot of new content creators, musicians, and we are going to have just an amazing level of, well, not level of series of content to show you. I cannot wait to inspire you in this big way. So make sure you guys tune in April 9th. If you have a Roku, all you got to do is find our logo and we will be there to inspire you. All right. So as Misha was saying, there are some people who, need to just vent, need someone just to talk to. So I'm going to start a service called a Helping Hand Talk Therapy Service, where you can allot some time, where you can vent. I can give you advice if that's what you need, but whatever it is. But this is just to give you some time, I'm saying, that you may not be able to get with a support system. All right, we all have to help each other, and there are several ways to do that. Sometimes people need a personal touch. So I'm going to set up a situation where, we can do that. And of course, the weekend is not over. On Sundays, we have Sundays with Spirit with 33 Master Teacher. More than likely, Spirit will have something to go along with the topic that we had on today. So I hope that you guys tune in tomorrow night so you can continue on this healing and this growth journey throughout your weekend, and it'll start you off on Monday. All right. And also, I will be getting into the NFT space. I'm going to be creating amputee inspired NFTs. I'm figuring all out. A lot of this stuff is, still complicated to me, but I'm going to figure it out. So we're going to be bringing all of this inspiration in every way that I possibly can. All right, so that is all. Make sure you guys look out for a lot of these interviews that I've been getting. A lot of interviews going on, so I will be posting them. Make sure that you tune into some of these podcasts, because I'm not the only one out here trying to make a difference, and trying to put myself out there and inspire the world, in my own way. So look out for all of those things. Look out for everything. Inspire Media. Okay, so I love, love, love y'all. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And of course, as always, be inspired.